Welcome back to AV Veterans Talk. We're continuing our conversation with this week's guest, John Roth. And we're back. John, so when we left for the break there, we were talking about your into your military there, so we need to go back a little bit. Just a fun aspect there, because you brought up something about in between the break there of your induction center. And when you said Wilshire Blvd, and I was thinking I was probably 6 years after you went in, and I went through that same building.
Probably.
And I've never seen more crying, upset young people in my life than when you hit that room and you realize it wasn't basic, but you knew something was changing drastically.
Oh boy, there was no question about that, especially for the ones that hadn't chosen a branch of the military to go to.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they start being assigned to what service they're going to.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them got big tears when the guy said Marine.
Yeah, because you said they would line you up on a wall and basically go down people that hadn't.
Right, the draftees would be lined up after swearing in, so you were now hooked.
Right.
You had hook, line, and sinker.
Right.
Then they went down the line. The day I went in June of '68, the ones that were being drafted were lined up on a different wall than us, and after we swore in, the guy went down the line and went Army, Army, Navy, Marine, Army, Army, Navy, Marine, and these poor kids had teardrops you wouldn't believe.
Wow. So I remember how stressful that whole place was, and civilians that have never gone through anything like that do not realize the sheer insanity of the induction center and things like that. I mean, the cattle call, it was one of those things. Yes, I was Air Force when I went in there, but as were you at that point. But, well, I'll tell you, it's something it's hard for the average citizen to just grasp. That whole experience there. So, anyway, after military there. You came home.
I got out of the military and kind of took it easy for a month or two, and then decided it was time to get a job. And I started going around to the contractors here over at Plant 42 and then out at Edwards. And just by accident, I was leaving NASA and starting home, and I went by this old decrepit-looking building that said civilian personnel. Figured what the heck, turned in, walked in, and they had a rehabilitation program going on for Vietnam vets, and I got hired within 1 week.
Nice. And so your first jobs out there was a GS, probably what?
Oh no, it
wasn't a GS.
I was a WG5 making $2.52 an hour.
Big bucks.
Doing 100-hour inspections on airplanes that were built in the 50s.
Nice. So, and out at Edwards at that time, we're looking at airplane. What type of aircraft? You said they're old. But
the ones I was doing,
flying boxcars.
Oh no,
no
T-33.
T-33. Okay.
Yeah, F-104 Starfighter.
Oh, okay.
Then we progressed on up to the A-7, F-111, and F-4 Phantom.
Mm-hmm.
But and then I stumbled into the quality office, and they got to know me real well because I was their teacher.
Nice. That time out there was a pretty special time out at Edwards Air Force Base there.
Well, it was rather unique to walk on the ground that my father walked on.
Right, correct.
To, mill around where he had been.
Mm-hmm.
When we would occasionally have a need to go down to the test pilot school, it was amazing to think he was a graduate in 1949.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think he was in the last class that was at Wright-Patterson before they moved the school to Edwards.
Yeah, and it's Rusty Roth, which is your father, and today, the tradition carries on because now your son, named after your dad, Rusty Roth the second.
Oh no, he's actually Russ. My dad's real name was Russell.
Oh, Russell.
So my son got his nickname.
That's right. So, and he now works out at Edwards Air Force
He's
Base.
in his 4th year at Edwards. He's a fuel system specialist currently, with the possibility of getting pulled over into the quality office, which will upset me because he'll beat me there by about 2 years.
Nice. So it's always nice to show up, Dad. Right?
It's kind of neat to see 3rd generation in such a famous place.
Carrying on out there, yeah. So as you continued with your career, your life out there, you lived here in Lancaster.
When I first hired in out there. I had grown up on the east side in the farming community out there, and I knew a bunch of the old farmers, and I actually lived in a ranch hand's house that I rented in the middle of 120 acres of alfalfa. It was a rough life.
Oh, I know.
You know, it was, what, 15 minutes to work, 10 minutes to town.
There you go.
And then, you know, trying to be a responsible individual, and I got a lot of people upset with me because I went and bought a house in 1975. And they go, what are you doing that for? And I go, well, rent's throwing your money away. Let's
Right.
get some equity going. So I moved to Quartz Hill, and I've been there ever since.
Yeah, you live up on the hill.
On the hill.
All right, exactly. So, of course, your history is a lot tied into, you know, your dad was probably your inspiration for a lot of the stuff that you ended up going on and doing, and walking the grounds of Edwards there, and of course that family legacy, which we'll get into in the next segment here, talking about your father's history and what it's like to grow up with that. And you knew Poncho. Poncho Barnes was. Did you ever go over to that Happy Bottom Riding Club?
Mom said they took me there as a child for dinner occasionally.
Yeah, it's kind of something you wouldn't remember at that
No,
age.
I don't remember any of that. I do remember a story my mom told me once about Poncho being the person she was, that she actually watched Poncho take two pilots by the back of their flight suits and march them out the front door at the same time.
Wow. And a little discipline,
Oh, yeah.
a little
They
Poncho
had-
discipline.
They had gotten disrespectful or something, and Poncho took them by the scruff of their neck and marched them right out the door.
Wow, that's cool. So we'll go ahead and take our next break here, and then when we come back, let's talk about Pops there for a little bit and his legacy.
Outstanding.
There you go.